Yo, this is your boy Flex from Jersey. And when I'm chilling, lamping out here in the crib, I'm listening to my guys, the Aussie Suns Fans podcast. These guys are the best of the business. Check them out. Peace out, Planet Orange.
As Chris Paul gets in, another wide open three.
Suns. Pierre Cardin. Suns.
Defers to Booker for the long range.
P-H-O-E-N-I-X. Phoenix Suns, and you know we up next. Yeah, we working for that championship ring. We the valley, it ain't nothing but a thing. P-H-O-E-N-I-X. Phoenix Suns, and you know we up next. Yeah, we working for that championship ring. We the valley, it ain't nothing but a thing.
Welcome everyone to a very special edition of the Aussie Suns Fans podcast. My name's Gavin, and as always, we're joined by Nate and Boyd. How's things, lads?
Brilliant.
Very well.
Love your work. As everyone can see, we've got a little bit of a different layout today. We've decided to go with the immersive view, and we have all of our guests basically sitting in chairs in the boardroom. So it's a great look. Well done, Nate, for discovering this one. And we can just go straight in. Obviously, a very special podcast, the third in a series of special editions with Phoenix Suns super fans. And our special guests tonight are very well-known figures in Suns Twitter and Podlands. We have Dan Duarte and Flex from Jersey. How we going, lads?
What's up, my guys?
What's going on, Australia?
Yes.
Great to have you lads on board. We obviously have done a couple of specials already. Our last one with So Says Jay, Justin, as you guys know him, and you both have a very special relationship, which we look forward to digging into a little bit later, because Justin didn't mind throwing you in particular under the bus, Dan. So we're hoping for a little bit of return.
Sounds about right.
Not surprised.
We're going to be a little bit flexible with today's pod. We're going to go outside of what we've done previously to get as much info out into Aussie Suns fans land as we can. So we're just going to throw it open to some questions and discussions from everyone on the pod. And during the flow of what we're doing, I'll try to maintain some structure. But effectively, we're going to open it up for everybody to ask some questions. And we're going to kick it off with Boyd. Boyd, you have an open floor to ask some questions. So go nuts.
Before we get into questions, Gav.
Yeah.
Fuck, we just lost a game to the Memphis Grizzlies, and no one needs to hit any fucking panic buttons right now. But fuck me, what's your take,
Boyd? For fuck's sake, surely we will touch on that as we go through.
It's on my chest right now, man. I really feel like I want to get it off.
Honestly, you're like me. There's a lot on your chest right now.
No. Look, I've got some stuff for both Duarte and Flex. Man, look, we were talking about it earlier, Flex. You and Duarte on that Coast to Coast podcast, right? The yin and yang, right? So you're a little bit more reserved, and you've got your sources, and you come through with the goods. And Duarte's just sitting there, man, just waiting for someone to fucking step out of line on Twitter. And he just winds up and gives it to him. So I want to, I'd love to, because look, you guys have had some fucking, some banging episodes where you've gotten on there and called people out, and I really appreciate it, because I'm here reading this shit on Twitter, and I'm fucking like, fuck that guy, rah, get him. And then it's refreshing to see some people not hold back so much and call a spade a spade. So yeah, I'd like to, man, I want to call some dudes out on this podcast.
So Boyd, honestly,
shit!
I'll say that was great, Boyd. But is there a fucking question or not?
Yeah, you know what? I kind of see where he's coming from. So I'll say this: me and Flex do the podcast because we love talking ball. That's what it is. It's two homies talking ball on the phone. That's all it is. We got no agenda. Yeah. We don't have sponsors. We don't work for anybody. So when I call people out, I don't have to worry about people's feelings getting hurt. Sometimes it gets out of line, you know. I did say Cameron Payne effing sucked one time after like his first game in the bubble.
We sure
So,
did.
you know.
We both did. We both did.
Hey, sometimes I got to watch myself.
That's all right. I almost had him written off to the back of the bench at the start of the year. So
You had him back in China, Gav.
Let's not discount Boyd's impact in what's the quickest, a minute 36 before he dropped a C-bomb on the pod. So, you know, he's already behind the schedule. You know.
So what do you think, Flex? Why do you think it goes well?
Listen, it goes well, guys, because exactly what you're saying. It's the yin and the yang, man. Like my man Dan has we got so much good chemistry. We don't talk about what we're gonna say before we say it. We just get on the show and we say what's gonna happen. And a lot of times my man Dan's like, you know, he's the brother that's willing to say the shit that I don't want to say, but he'll be like, Flex, I'm gonna say this shit for you, man. And he'll go out there and he'll get it started. And I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it because it's raw and it's genuine. And I think that's what makes it work, man. I mean, it's great chemistry. He knows when I got something to say, he'll just give me the floor. And I know when he's ready to rock, I'm like, go ahead, Dan, let it loose. And we talk each other off the ledge sometimes. Sometimes it's some stuff that we want to say a little more. And we're like, nah, chill, don't go that far. But it's a lot of fun, man. And it's crazy, guys, because I'm gonna tell y'all something that y'all may not know, or you may know. I'll tell y'all a little secret here. You know, subconsciously or subliminally, y'all, somebody, you know, you guys are part of why Coast to Coast even came to fruition. Because it was that night on that night that we were talking about, boy, that we were all on the phone till like 5 a.m. and we were all chopping it up. And that's the first time me and Dan met.
Actually, I remember some of that dialogue. And it was, it was like you guys were actually floating the idea during that Zoom, right?
Yeah. And we never really talked before that. But during that Zoom, we could I could feel the chemistry already. And I remember him saying a couple of things and I said a couple of things and I'm like, hold on, this might be a match made in heaven here, man. So we continued off the phone after that. And that's my brother now. That's my brother, man. That's my guy. So
Yes,
I love
sir.
him to death. He
Yes,
knows
sir.
that.
Boy, Flex,
So yeah,
you were like,
you were like, this guy has balls. I'm going to let him off the leash and these pricks come after me on fucking social media.
Oh my God.
That's what it is, dog. That's what it is. I said, this is my guy. I'm from the East Coast. I'm from New York City. Yeah, I need a fucking guy like Dan Duarte. So let's do that. And
you need that
appreciate
JaVale
that,
McGee.
That's my Jay Crowder right there. That's my boss man 99 right there.
Right.
That's funny.
Yeah,
that's awesome. No, but look, when's this thing kicking off again, guys? Tell us.
Oh man, life's been crazy, man. The last year has been ups and downs and terrible times, and you know, it's one of those things where life got in the way. I've said it a couple of times on Fan of the Flames because for some reason people ask me like if we had a falling out or something like that. I'm like, no, that's not the case at all.
No, man, no.
So yeah, we're hoping to get something started before the playoffs starts up. Again with time and schedules, and now the East Coast, what, 3 hours? You got your 3 hours ahead now. Yeah. So it gets difficult, kind of hammering out of time, but it's gonna get done because every time me and Flex talk on the phone, even if it's supposed to be something quick, we end up talking for 2 hours, and I'm like, we just did an entire episode of Coast to Coast, man. We could have just hit the record button.
We're calling you guys out. We need episodes. So.
It's coming, man. It's coming. You know what? I'm gonna say this, and you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna talk about this. And I haven't even really talked to Dan about this, so we're gonna talk about it right here live right now. We're gonna put it right here.
Exclusive.
So you know, I've been working behind the scenes on setting up a playoff extravaganza type thing where we get a different guest every week for the week that the Suns are off, right before the playoffs. I'm talking about Kevin Ray, you know, Tom Leander, Tim Kempton, John Bloom. You know, we just, right. We, you know, you guys, if you want, like, you know, however we want to do it, guys. But no, it would be nice. It would be nice to to set something up like that. And I've been working on it behind the scenes, and I was intending to reach out to Dan and talk to him about this shortly. So we're talking about it right now. It'd be nice to try to get this hey Dan, you hear me, right, brother?
I love it, man.
Let's get this popping. Let's get these guys what they want. And let's get the idea is to do it maybe the week before the playoffs start, and then start rolling with nightly shows as the playoffs progress. That would be the idea,
there, man.
So yeah.
And guys, you mentioned it before, Flex, when you had to talk Dan, because I remember this, right? Because I listened to all of your guys' pods, right? So when you actually, I saw Duarte on Twitter being anti Chris Paul coming to Phoenix.
I was going to say, this is exactly where this is going.
And you said that you talked him down off of that ledge. Now, how did that go down? Was it Dan calling you saying, "What the fuck's going on?" Or was it you saying, "Hey, Dan, about this."
Let me tell you something. So, all right, so Dan, you want to tell the story, or you want me to tell the story?
Yeah.
You tell the story.
Flex texted me. And well, actually, I texted him because I saw him post something on Twitter, and sometimes, not always, which I get. Sometimes Flex will tell me what he's saying because sometimes he can't. Doesn't matter how badly people on Twitter troll him and want him to say who or what's going on. Flex is a steel trap, man. There's sometimes when he doesn't tell me, but. This particular situation, he calls me, and I'm minding my own goddamn business, man. I'm just trying to have a nice day.
Let me just before he could let me just paint the mood. This is a random Tuesday.
Yeah,
I never forget. It was a random Tuesday.
Yep. Exactly.
And
at like 2 in the afternoon.
At like 2 in the afternoon, and I had like an hour and a half conversation with some people very close to the situation. And I get off that call, and I'm in my car, and I'm like, what the fuck? We're about to get Chris Paul, and no one knows it. So I got to talk to somebody, and so I called Dan. So go ahead, Dan, tell him the story.
Yeah, he calls me, and I'm just like, he's over here talking to me about Chris Paul, and I'm like, man, I'm just minding my own business, Flex. Why I got to ruin my day? Because I was very anti Chris Paul coming to the Suns, and I'm glad I was, I'm not going to back down and say I didn't say that. No, I was very anti Chris Paul. And Flex talked me into it. He gave me the reasons why. He broke it down and simplified it and made it sound logical. And I'm like, okay, you say it like that, I'm all in, right? And then, a couple things happen. He says something on Twitter, and then we record the episode. I believe that Friday we record the episode and put it out there that this is in the works. And that was the first. I think that was the most listened to Coast to Coast episode that we had. He put it out there. Twitter was all over it. People calling him out, and then I believe that next Monday the trade was announced.
Right.
It was pretty quick after, wasn't it?
It was quick. It was either that Monday or the following Monday, one of the two. But it happened quick, man. And Flex was on it from the beginning. He talked me into it. And then I'm just like, God damn it. You know what? You're right. Who else are we going to give money to? Fuck it. And it's not like they gave up an arm and a leg for it, right? They gave up, Ricky Rubio, which was good here. Kelly Oubre, you guys know how I feel about Kelly Oubre. He did good things here, but I didn't like how things ended up, and I'm just not a fan. And then Ty Jerome and a first round pick, which I'm all right with that. Not going to.
Who even was that first round pick, or is that this year's? That's this year's, isn't it?
It's going to convey this year. Yep, it'll convey this year.
So, it became something really, really that happened really quickly, and I was convinced of very quickly. Now, did I think it was going to lead to an NBA Finals appearance? Absolutely not. I think we even gave our prediction that said, "Hey, we're going to win we're going to get home court advantage and be a 4 seed." And then you guys know the rest. We almost won the whole damn thing.
Yeah, and what's crazy, guys? I'm sorry, brother, cut you off. I just wanted to piggyback on that real quick. What's crazy is, we're talking about me talking Dan off the ledge, but so there's a lot of times, and Dan can account to this. There's a lot of times I'll get information, and I just won't share it. I just as much as you're enticed to put it out on Twitter and try to get, you got to protect your sources, and you got to protect the people you talk to. If not, you lose those relationships and you lose those friendships and contacts. So you got to be very, very careful how you navigate that world. But just recently, I mean, during this trade deadline, I mean, there was some things that I talked about, and I called Dan, and he talked me off the ledge. I'm like, bro, this is being talked about. Like it's being talked about as serious. I need you to talk me the fuck off the ledge, because I need to make sure I'm not hearing this wrong. And yeah, we talked for like 3 hours one day, right?
We talked for 3 hours.
Yeah, and he told me everything he felt about it. And at the end of the conversation, I left that conversation saying, you know what, Dan's right. And I hope this doesn't happen. And thank God it didn't happen. So it's a great relationship though, man. It's cool, man. That's my brother over there.
Well, what was that one?
That was Domantas Sabonis. Yes. That was Domantas Sabonis.
Yeah, cool, cool.
That was Domantas Sabonis.
Can understand why you're out on the ledge there, Flex.
No, so I tell you what, here I'm gonna tell you guys. No, honestly, you guys are cool as hell. So, and Dan can co-sign this. A lot of times when I'm hearing these things, I'm hearing the things behind the scenes that make the shit sound good. Like I'm hearing, it's not just, hey, the Suns are interested in Domantas Sabonis. They're interested in Domantas Sabonis, and this is why.
Yeah.
And this is who likes it, and this is who could be involved, and this is who could co-sign this. And these conversations have. So when I hear the whole situation, then I'm a little torn, because I'm like, okay, like the Chris Paul situation, right? What people didn't know was that, I had already known that Chris and Devin Booker were in Idaho golfing a week before. Mm-hmm. And they were plotting this thing a week before it happened. So I'm hearing about certain conversations within that situation. And it makes me say, oh, you know what? I know on paper, people are going to say Chris Paul's not the right move. But when the franchise player is behind the scenes saying, I fucking want Chris Paul, that changes everything. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So when you hear the Domantas Sabonis thing, and then you start hearing a little bit of the dialogue behind the scenes, it makes you think differently. It's just not black and white at that point. It's a little gray area.
Talk to me about that dialogue behind the scenes. Now, was it the same sort of thing with the CP3 thing? Was there players for or against it?
No. So the behind the scenes stuff is more about, this could happen, and this, conversations have been had, and if it does happen, this is what we think. This is how we think things will kind of fall into place. This is
why we're going to do it.
This is why This is why we're going to do it. It's not some irrational decision. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that are leading to it's a domino effect. You know what I mean? And a lot of that stuff people will never know about. So, on
except
Black
Dan.
Again, except Dan. Dan knows everything. Dan's
I
like,
definitely don't know everything.
So Dan and Flex, who talked who off a ledge when you heard the name Dragon Bender?
Oh,
I didn't know my boy Flex back then.
Yeah, we didn't know each other, but we probably would have both talked ourselves off of that.
Have you got like an American helpline you can call for mental health stability or something?
Hold on. I think you're being too harsh. The Dragon Bender wasn't as bad as Marquise Chris.
They would have both seen me.
Marquise Chris.
They're called they're like two emoji bookends.
Team all rookie. Didn't Marquise Chris make second team all rookie? His
first team
his rookie year.
He made first team. Did he make first? I think it was first or second team. He made the all rookie team.
That says a lot about the draft.
It does, and it also says a lot about where we're at now, where we were then. Yeah. I mean, now. Honestly, this regime and this team would be perfect for somebody like Marquise Chris or even Josh Jackson.
Yeah.
But back then, it was, an immovable. It really was. Like, what are you going to do? They're both really bad for each other, and unfortunately, wasn't the right situation for either side. So, I think maybe he showed enough potential his rookie year, but it's all about the situation, right?
Man, I find myself talking myself into whatever the Suns do because, at the start of the day and the end, I'm still going to be a Suns fan, right? So I've got to fucking sleep. So I talk myself into Josh Childress, Hito Turkoglu.
Oh my God.
Amari Stoudemire. As soon as they let him go to
Hakeem Warwick, you was ready for Hakeem Warwick, right?
Man,
you said Hakeem Warwick's gonna be the next Amari. I did the same shit. I said, fuck Amari.
Hold on. Important question off the back of that. How many of you talked yourself into Robert Horry?
Oh shit, man.
I know. I was at a different.
You had to go ruin shit.
Even I couldn't talk myself into Robert Horry.
I was too young. I was too young to know better. When that trade happened, I was, what was that, 96, 97?
Yeah. We were teenagers.
I was 7 years old. So, I mean, I was just really upset that Charles Barkley was no longer on the Suns.
You're going to come on here and brag about your age. Jesus Christ.
Oh, there's nothing to brag about, man. Once I hit 30, it didn't matter. Might as well be 45.
Downhill.
I'm not gonna lie, guy. I talked myself into that shit. I looked at Sam Cassell Robert. No, you know what? Because at the time I maybe 14, 15. I was like a freshman in high school, and I'm sitting here and I'm watching Sam Cassell and Robert Horry kick our ass in the playoffs 2 years in a row. And so I'm like, you know what? Maybe this will work. Chuck doesn't want to be here no more. Maybe this will work. And that shit fell apart like 10 days later. I was off the I was like, I think we started that year 0-13.
Yeah.
We started that year 0-13. And then I never forget that year because, we made the playoffs. That's the year. That's the Rex Chapman.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's the Rex Chapman fadeaway shot year.
Yeah.
And I remember that year because we started 0-13. We fired Cotton Fitzsimmons. We brought in Danny Ainge, and then we were the first team in the NBA to go on a 13-game losing streak and follow that up with a 10-game winning streak in the same season. So I remember that year vividly, and we had the Sonics on the ropes that year, and Kevin Johnson couldn't stay healthy. That sucked.
What's crazy is that Rex Chapman 3. That's the first Suns game I ever went to.
No shit.
Oh, what?
What hooked me, man.
No shit. You were at that game, first game ever.
That was the first game I ever went to, man. I remember my older brother surprised me with tickets.
Oh man, I need an older brother like your older brother. Shit, that's great.
Let's be honest. The 10-game win streak came after Robert Horry was fucked right off.
Yeah. That's true.
Yep.
That's true.
It is true.
What he threw the towel, right? Threw the towel at Danny Ainge.
Yeah, that's right.
So what's more disrespectful? Sorry. What's more disrespectful? That or Jimmy Butler trying to fight Eric Spoelstra?
What is even happening with that Jimmy Butler thing?
The thing I like about that is after the game, both of them sort of sat there and went, It was for the right reasons. They moved on. Where Robert Horry sort of went, well, I don't want to be here.
He's just a fucking prick.
He was just
neither one of them. Neither one of them ever wanted to be in Phoenix, and that was a sad thing. That trade never had hope because they both went public and basically said they never wanted to be in Phoenix. But here's the thing, guys, and I'm not defending either one of them. I'm not a fan of Sam Cassell or Robert Horry after that. But, there is a human element to it. Those kids went there because they were kids when they played with the Rockets. Yeah. And they won two championships, and they were intricate parts of that. And then they just shipped them off to Phoenix for Charles. And so there was animosity from the jump. They were mad at the Rockets, and they were pissed off at the Suns. And I think it was a bad time in their careers for that to happen. They were just too young.
I was at the Rockets. I was a huge Sam Cassell fan. I was so wrapped when Phoenix ended up with him, and it was a mess. That entire trade was a mess.
So let me ask y'all something, though. You know how you see how the shit works out is, I tell people all the time in that deal, it ultimately led to Jason Kidd. Yeah. It ultimately ended up being Jason Kidd, right? Because we traded Sam Cassell to Dallas with Michael Finley, and we ended up with Jason Kidd. So it found a way to work itself out. You know what I mean?
Butterfly
at the end
effect.
of the day, yes, the butterfly effect. So I kind of looked at it in that angle. I'm like, as much as I hate Sam Cassell, I love the Jason Kidd years. It ended up working out, brother.
Yeah,
So,
and I mean, you could say that.
Go, mate, go.
No, I was just gonna say you could say the same butterfly effect happened with the whole, DeAndre Ayton and Chris Paul thing, because everybody wanted to trade the fourth pick that ended up being Josh Jackson. He was a bust, but they wouldn't for Kyrie. We wouldn't have lost as many games as we did that year. Kyrie still would have been Kyrie, and we would have ended up with who knows who.
Correct.
Maybe Marvin Bagley the third. Can you imagine that?
We wouldn't have got pick 2. Well, it would have been much lower than that. But
right. It's still, I just imagine the worst case scenario.
Let's be honest. Everyone in the NBA is lucky that Sacramento's in the NBA. So
you're right about that. And the Orlando Magic.
And the Orlando Magic.
And the Orlando Magic.
What do you guys think is worse? The fact that Robert Horry was on the Suns, or the fact that Mario Ellie played on the Suns?
Fuck. No, Robert Horry.
I struck a nerve there with my boy
Robert Horry. Robert Horry basically gave up.
We're just going to talk about Houston players now. What the fuck?
Robert Horry gave up everything in his life the minute he hip checked Stephen Nash.
Yeah, man, you're right.
That's a great point. But Mario Ellie did have the kiss of death.
And I'm gonna tell you what I remember. So Mario Ellie had the kiss of death, but you know what I remember from that game? I don't as much as I remember the kiss of death. You know what makes me hate Mario Ellie even more? The fact that the fact that, do you remember when Danny Ainge threw the ball at his fucking head at the end of the game? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do y'all remember that? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. So his whole reaction to that even pissed me off. I wanted the Suns to beat the hell out of the guy after the game. I was so ramped up after that. I said Danny Ainge threw the ball at his head, and then he started acting crazy. So yeah, I mean, I remember the kiss of death. I remember Danny Ainge being my hero for throwing the ball off his fucking head. But yeah, I mean, it was those were tough times, man. If I'm being honest, it's funny. I'm very good friends with Tim Kempton. I mean, that's like my brother. I love him to death. My boy Tim Kempton.
He's a lovely guy.
Oh, I love.
I've had the pleasure of meeting him, and he went out of his way to be friendly.
He is a fantastic human being. I consider him a brother. I really do. Every time I'm in Phoenix, we link up. When he comes out to New York, we link up. We talk all the time. But so the beautiful thing of that is, Tim Kempton played on the 92-93 Suns. He was in the finals with that Suns team. And so I got, a lot of times we'll be just talking and I'll just throw things at him. And, he tells me certain things. He's like, every time I see Cedric Ceballos, I'm pissed off because he says Cedric Ceballos cost us a championship by breaking his foot against Seattle. And then Joe Klein. People forget Joe Klein was the reason Danny Manning tore his ACL. Do y'all know that? Do y'all know that?
Yeah,
I've heard
about that.
I've heard iterations about it, but I don't know exactly. I didn't hear exactly. I've never heard exactly.
So Joe Klein, in practice, not paying attention. He's got his big ass size 25 feet on the baseline. And Danny Ainge is doing a basic layup and he steps on Joe Klein's foot in practice and popped his ACL. And that was it. So we've had some, that time in my life as a Suns fan was traumatic, man. Honestly, guys, I say it all the time. I'm like, as a young kid, I didn't know what depression was until those couple years.
So, Flex, you didn't answer my question. Is there a mental health line in America that you guys like what did you do while Ryan McDonough was running the team? It was like, did you have it on speed dial and call it every day?
Man, can you imagine how long our conversations would have been if we would have met back then, man?
Dude,
oh, Lord.
You know what's funny? I talk to my guy John Bloom, right? We talk all the time, and I say that all the time. I'm like, I don't know how we were doing these post-game shows every night winning 19 games. I just don't know how we got through stuff like that. Talking every night.
In saying that, like let's not be too harsh on Ryan. Let's remember that we wouldn't have Devin Booker without Ryan McDonough.
I got a fucking story about that. I got a fucking story about that. But
here we go.
I cannot, man. Listen, I can't. Forget it. Go ahead and say what
No way.
You cannot do that.
Let me tell y'all something. All right, so let me tell y'all something. Go ahead, Dan.
I was just gonna say, stop people need to stop giving Ryan McDonough credit for Devin Booker. Just
yes, guys, listen to me.
Tell us why. Tell us why.
I'm gonna tell you right now that I know this 100%. Ryan McDonough was ready to draft Frank Kaminsky if he was on the board over Devin Booker. 100%. Fucking 100%. And I'm gonna tell you, the night of that draft, I had that.
Love us some Frank too, though. That's
yes. I love Frank. I love the tank.
Not that much.
Let me. There's some, there is something crazy that happened behind the scenes in that draft that I have to go to my grave with that one. I'm sorry, guys. I just can't. That one I can't say, but I will say this.
Damn, I don't even know that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have. Yeah, I don't know if that one's tricky, man. But listen, guys,
it happened 7 years ago. You can say it now.
No, if I man,
statute of limitations.
Yeah. I wish that applied to this situation, man. But
right.
I tell y'all what, listen, that draft, I remember having a phone call with someone close to the team, and I'm like, "Who's the pick tonight?" And they're like, "Yo, Frank Kaminsky is the pick," and I'm like, "Fucking Frank Kaminsky? Are you kidding me, Frank Kaminsky?" And so I know this going into the draft, and then when he gets drafted by Charlotte, I fucking start jumping around and running around the house. And everybody's looking at me. I got my nephews and my son around, and everybody's looking at me like, why are you so happy that Charlotte took Frank Kaminsky? And I'm like, you have no fucking idea why I'm so happy, but I'm thrilled because we were about to end up with that guy. And then when we end up with Book, it was like the icing on the cake. It was like,
man, I would have been worried that fucking Phoenix traded up to get Frank Kaminsky from Charlotte, and there's like an
you know what's crazy is Boston was trying to trade up with Charlotte. Yeah, they were going to give them like what?
They were going to give up 3 picks. They were going to give up like 3 picks to try to get that pick.
To get
Frank. Michael Jordan said, "Nah, I'm good."
Michael Jordan said, "Nah, I'm good." So yeah, it's crazy stuff.
What a goat!
It's craziness, man.
What a fucking goat. Anyway.
See, these are the things, especially back then, still even now, these are the things that we are probably from an Australian perspective a little bit disconnected from. So it's good to hear.
Yeah.
Flex, I'm not going to let you off the loop that easy, mate. You didn't actually tell us the rest of the story why Ryan McDonough wasn't responsible for Devin. Who the fuck was responsible for Devin Booker?
Who wanted Book?
All right, so here, damn guys, I plead the fifth here, man. I just can't, man. I can't.
We don't have that. Yo, your constitution is
There's no fifth over here in Australia, man.
It's an Australian podcast.
Let me just. I'm just gonna say this. And y'all are gonna love this answer.
And then Dan's gonna jump in.
Y'all gotta promise. Y'all gotta promise that y'all won't press me on this after I say. I'm just gonna say this, okay? You know who's responsible for Devin Booker being in Phoenix?
Devin Booker.
Devin Booker.
Devin Booker. Okay.
Devin Booker.
Wait, Earl Watson wasn't even there when they're drafted. Huh?
No,
he wasn't.
No. And that's all I'm gonna say. You know,
didn't do much
I'll just say this much, man. Devin knew what he wanted, and Devin. This is the beauty about Devin Booker, man. The kid is just beyond his years, and at a young age, he knew that Phoenix was a good fit for him, and so things have a way of working themselves out behind the scenes, and what you got to realize is this is crazy stuff. I have a really good dear friend of mine that works at the NBA league office in Manhattan, and he's got a lot of contacts with a lot of agents and people. And so what a lot of people don't realize is, man, the draft is so very much so controlled by agents in a lot of ways. And more than people think, the NBA draft is controlled by agents. Behind the scenes, there's so many conversations and threats and I won't do this or I won't do that. And you know what I mean? So
see Tyrese Halliburton, by the way.
Yes.
On that.
We had that conversation with Justin.
Sorry, Flex. Go ahead, bro.
There you go. Hey. No. So there's a lot of times that things are handled behind the scenes. And so Devin knew Phoenix was a good fit, and he probably could have went much sooner. I know for a fact Orlando was looking at Devin Booker, and I thought Devin thought he was probably going to end up in Orlando, but they passed. They took Mario Hezonja, I think, and
they certainly did.
And the rest is history. So yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know with some of the dialogue and information I've gotten, I don't know that I'm going to give Ryan McDonough credit for Devin Booker. I think Devin kind of fell in his lap. And the way the circumstances played out, he had no choice but to pull the trigger there. But I know his intentions from my contacts were he wanted other people before. If put it this way, if there were 2 or 3 people in that draft that if he and Devin was there at the same time, he would have took all 3 of those guys before Devin.
Oh, fuck.
And that's crazy stuff. But yes, that's crazy stuff. But that's the facts of it. So yeah, he lucked into Devin.
Hey, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and I'm glad he was lucky.
Yeah, so. He was lucky. Yeah, he was lucky.
After Ryan McDonough left the Suns and he's on his long vacation, and Frank comes along to the Suns, do you think he swallowed some humble pie, or he sat there and went, "Bitch, please"?
Who are you talking? Who?
Ryan McDonough.
Oh man, no.
When Frank finally comes to the Suns, what do you reckon McDonough actually said? In his little private space before he called that mental health line you were talking about.
I think Ryan McDonough was trying to talk himself into being a genius at that point. He's like, I got Aiden, I got fucking Mikal, and they stole my game plan and got Frank fucking too. And so he's taking credit for the whole thing right now.
I mean,
Ryan
like you see, he tried to take credit a lot last season.
Yes, he did.
Sure did.
I'm like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
I'm pretty sure when we brought Big Frank back, Ryan McDonough was playing marbles at his fucking school friend's house in the backyard. Cunt's unemployed. So fucking
It was at roughly the same time I think we did a podcast called "In James Jones We Trust."
Hey, you want to talk about "In James Jones We Trust"? I got a T-shirt in my closet that says "Trust the Timeline." It's got a picture of Dragon Bender, Marquise Chris, Josh Jackson's big ass head, and then the one light-skinned brother, Devin Booker. You know, and I look at that shirt, and every now and then I'm tempted to just fucking cut those 3 heads out. And just
All right, so flow on effect here. DeAndre Ayton, flex.
Mm-hmm.
Why did we pick DA over Luka?
All right, so
look at Boyd. Everyone just take a minute and look at Boyd right now.
You know what? I truly believe that. I still to this day believe that's the right pick.
So do
and
I
know
agree.
Yeah,
100%.
The right pick, and I think it's again when you have a Devin Booker, and you got an opportunity to team him up with a big man. See, you know, a lot of people, it's not all black and white, man. You had Devin Booker already. And Luka is very much cut from the same cloth. They're different players, but in a sense, they need, they do certain things that will take away from each other if they play
Ball
together.
in hand.
Right? Yeah.
It's yin and yang, or yang
that's
and
right.
yang.
That's right. Yeah. And so I think DeAndre was the right pick because at that time, the pieces that were starting to fall into place, it made perfect sense to go get the big man. And I mean, we're proving that it was the right pick.
Yeah, it was.
So as much as people want to talk about Luka's talent, and the kid is uber talented, I mean, God bless him. He's a heck of a basketball player. Not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. Dan knows this. I'm not a big Luka Doncic fan.
Same here, man.
But you know what? Basketball is back.
Boyd's a huge Luka Doncic.
No, listen.
Don't fucking go there, man.
Listen. I appreciate the game of basketball. I played the game of basketball. I coached the game of basketball. One of my guys, one of my brothers, Shaheen Holloway, just shocked the basketball world, by the way. So I got to say that. That was my high school teammate. Me and Shaheen.
Bro, you've talked about him on our podcast before.
Yes.
And then I seen him coaching that. I seen him coaching that team. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, that's Flex's teammate.
That's my guy,
that's
man.
Crazy,
that's my guy.
dude.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Who is that?
Shaheen Holloway, the head coach, St. Peter's University.
I don't know anything about.
St. Peter's is going fucking nuts.
They were a 15 seed and they made it all the way to the Elite Eight. So
yeah.
Right.
So that's my guy, man. New Jersey. He's a New York, New Jersey kid, and I've known him for years, and it was just special. But I say all that to say, you know, I respect the game of basketball. I've been around the game my whole life. I've had the pleasure of this kid was a McDonald's All-American MVP, in the same game with Kobe Bryant, guys. I just want to put that in perspective.
Oh, really?
Kobe was his teammate, and he was the best player on the court, and he won the MVP of that game. So he's a phenomenal talent. And I say all that. I say all that to say, Luka's incredible, man. Luka's incredible. What he can do on the basketball court is incredible. So I don't want to take away from his talent, but I just don't think that we'd have the success we're having if we would have drafted Luka Doncic. I think if we would have drafted Luka Doncic, we would be where the Dallas Mavericks are right now, hovering around 5'6", trying to figure out a defensive identity and trying to figure out how Luka and Devin Booker are going to coexist.
What are we? We're 9-1 against the Mavs since Luka and DA.
I think it's
drafted.
Yeah. I think it's better than that actually at this point.
I think they've only lost once, but that was one of the games where DeAndre was suspended. So
DeAndre was suspended, correct.
So
DeAndre's undefeated against
undefeated.
him.
Yep.
Yes, DeAndre's undefeated against him, and I think it's like 13-1 at this point, maybe.
Yeah,
I could be wrong though, brother. I could be wrong.
Hey, Flex, I appreciate where you jump in yourself. I don't want to take away from his talent. But on this podcast, we like to shit on everyone.
Yeah,
okay.
And we often shit on Luka like pretty fucking frequently. I'm going to throw to Dan because if anyone was watching the YouTube channel, every time you said Luka, Dan looked pretty constipated. I just kind of want to hear what he's got to say on that.
Yeah, man. I've said it before. If Luka Doncic got drafted by the Suns, I don't think Book would still be here.
Agreed.
I mean, he's not somebody that's going to ask for a trade, but I think in that situation, it would have been pretty clear, especially given who the coach was. You know, all kinds of factors that go into it. And people always bring up the fact that, Chris Paul, he's a ball dominant player, but Chris Paul's still a pure point guard. He's still a pass first point guard. I mean, he's leading the league in assists. Luka's more looking for his shot, and if he can't get it, he's going to find the open man.
Correct.
And CP3, he's looking for Devin Booker. I don't know if Luka would have been looking for Devin Booker. If Book was open in the corner for a three, he'd be like, all right, I'll pass it to you. But I just don't think it would have worked out. And I mean, I'm so glad we had last season because I feel like that put that conversation to rest because you really don't see it brought up anymore. Right, because Luka can't get out of the first round, and we went to the goddamn finals last season. We're probably going back again. So
that's right, baby.
And I DeAndre hasn't had the best 2 games, but I feel like everybody's waiting for him to just have that bad game to just pounce on him. And I saw that a lot. Tonight, man.
DA,
it was crazy.
I think by now we all have to realize DA likes the challenge of the game in front of him.
Yeah.
So he rocks up today and plays against Tillman.
Right.
It doesn't motivate DA to play that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate because it shouldn't be that way. But I'm more happy that he shows up when it matters. He showed up in the playoffs last year. And people always point at the finals and they say, oh, well, he didn't have a good finals. Nobody was going to have a fucking good finals against Giannis. That guy was out of his mind.
Right.
And you know what? DA, he did okay when he guarded.
He did okay.
He wasn't bad.
DA did his job. DA did his job. We didn't lose that championship because DA didn't perform.
No, absolutely not.
We lost that championship because we fell apart and we had some really, some tough fourth quarters in games that we should have won. You know what, guys? I'm gonna say.
God damn it, man.
What's up,
talking about the damn. We had to start talking about the finals.
Don't worry about it. No, don't worry about it. You know why? AD. Hey, so hold on, guys. Y'all want to hear something funny?
1-800-USA mental health.
Yeah, y'all want to hear something funny, man? All right, so my man Dan, I love him to death. This is my guy. But let me tell you something. This fucking guy can go crazy. This guy can go crazy. I mean, there was some games last year in the playoffs where Dan called me and was ready to fucking blow the stadium. I mean, it's old Flex. I mean, and I remember having these calls and I'm like, I'm at this point, Dan's my guy. So he sticks up for me. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, bro, just take a deep breath, brother. I feel you. I feel you. And rightfully so. I mean, there was some games that shit got hairy. And so, yeah, I mean, it's crazy, man. I mean, I know when he just reacted right there, it brought me back. That reaction he just did just brought me back. Like, holy shit, the playoffs are right around the corner. and me and Dan are gonna start having these talks again after games. So it's gonna get.
What's crazy is I called him the day after the finals ended, and he literally told me, he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "You know what? It's gonna make next year even sweeter. We're gonna be the best team in the league next year." And I remember getting off the phone, and I'm like, "Man, that's probably bullshit. This is probably their only chance. They're never gonna get back there again." And lo and behold, man, look where we're at.
Hey Dan, if you ever want to unleash and just drop all the words you can't say in America on a podcast, you can do it here.
Yeah.
Trust me, man. Boyd will lead the way. He'll throw the pebble in the pool, break the water for you. Just jump right in, drop the C-bomb, drop any of those bombs. I mean, he said white spastic on 2 episodes. Like, so, you know.
That was Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson. I don't like them. I don't like when they go and fucking splash 9 threes in the first fucking quarter.
Oh, and that was rough.
And it's like, come on, man. It's fucking anyways, yeah.
Call us, bro, and jump on.
That was the one day after you called them what?
Flakes or some shit like that. I don't know. Something like that. Anyway, that's in the past. I want to, and I'm probably taking up too many questions, Gav and Nate. But
this is going way too long.
Sorry, mate. Sorry. But
that's usually my line, Gav.
With all that you mentioned, when you started talking about the timeline, I thought you were going to mention the timeline pod. You're not close with you guys. Are you guys close with any of them? There seems to be a few pods that are close together, and then there's a bunch that are really fucking. They seem straighty 180, and they all just sort of fucking get behind each other. And
I'll say
there's a different name for that.
Straighty.
I'm gonna go a little Wolf of Wall Street on you.
Let's go, baby.
Absolutely fucking not.
All right, well, explain.
I'll just say that.
So you're going midget bowling on that one.
I'm not a fan.
I want to expand on that.
Yeah.
Hey, something that really frustrates me, and I brought it up with Justin on the pod with when we did the pod with him. What the fuck is wrong with Suns fans and the rivalry that happens rather than just being Suns fans?
Right.
I agree, and I'll say this: I've been a fan of all of the Suns podcasts. At one point or another, I've listened to all of them, and I now listen to 3 or 4, and there's a lot more than 3 or 4, right?
Yeah.
I have an issue when people think that they're so high and mighty that they want to talk down on people and make them feel stupid, which unfortunately both of those co-hosts have done to me on Twitter when I just want to have simple discourse. If I'm just trying to talk to you man to man and you're going to come at me with shit like that, and you don't even have the balls to put your face on Twitter to see, so everybody can see what you look like, you can go fuck yourself.
Simple. There's a little bit of that out there, but again, going back to what we did with Justin, I just don't understand why everybody wants to butt heads, and it's almost a jealousy level.
It's weird. It's weird, and I get it because. And I mean, Flex is the nicest guy in the world, man. Flex, nobody's gonna have an issue with Flex unless you have an issue with Flex.
What's that?
I mean, and myself, I have a short fuse, and I understand that. However, I do have. It's not like I have no friends that I've made on Twitter. I've made some of my closest friends on Twitter. And me and Flex, even with the yin and yang, you see how close we are, and you see how cool we are. You know why? Because we've never disrespected each other.
Never.
When people start disrespecting you, especially on Twitter, when they wouldn't have the balls to say it to your face, because I've seen some of these guys at Suns games, and then they try to make it like it's all love. I'm like, okay, so you're one of those guys. All right. You're hiding behind a Twitter profile. You think, unfortunately your home life or your personal life isn't that great. So you have this persona on Twitter, and it makes you feel good about yourself. So you feel like you're higher, you're up above everybody else. And that's the shit I can't stand, man. It is pointless.
All of that shit pointless.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what
go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying, I never start shit. all talk shit, but like in the end, because I've talked shit. I mean, me and Flex used to talk shit to each other back in the day, and but I never disrespected him on Twitter.
The whole reason we have an Aussies podcast is because Americans talk so much shit.
Exactly right. And the entire reason we started the Facebook group for Australians and everything else is because people talk shit. It got out of control. The amount of rubbish we're all Suns fans. Why do we have to slam each other? Like,
well, that's
I don't know. There's somebody that's in y'all area that.
Yeah, fucking, I actually had a run-in with him the other day.
Let me just let me say something. You know, guy, I'm sorry, if I ever go to Australia, I'm gonna go see y'all first. Y'all my guys. We're gonna crack some beers. I'm not gonna drink. I'm gonna buy y'all some beers. We're gonna have a good time. And then I'm gonna go on Twitter and I'm going to publicize where I'm at in Australia. That's what I'm gonna do. Bold letters. This is where I'm at. Please come see me. And that person should understand who the hell he is, and because this is my problem with Twitter. This is my problem with Twitter, and the reason why I'm not gonna say his name is because I'm not even at this point is senseless. But my problem is I'd rather you just on Twitter tell me who you are and how you feel than be subliminal. I hate the subliminal shit. You know what I mean? And
that's the problem. The subliminal shit is the problem.
It's absolutely the problem. It's the passive aggressiveness, right? So they want to say something, but they're not man enough or grown up enough to actually say something. So they're just gonna tiptoe around it and do dumb shit. And we're all grown ups, and that's the problem I have with it is. And I'm a grown man.
You can even respect it if you went about it that way.
Yeah, right. If somebody comes at me directly and I can see a picture of them and I can see their name and they're telling me what they feel and where they're coming from, I can respect that. But doing all that other sideways stuff, man, it's silly stuff. I mean, I've had people reach out to me and tell me that particular people have reached out to them in DMs and told them, if you keep following Flex, I'm gonna block you. Like, are you kidding me?
Who gives a shit?
No, I'm serious.
This is why I'm not on this Twitter shit.
Hey,
I've seen it. I've seen the
I'm telling you, like, people have DM'd me and say, hey, Flex, so-and-so hit me up and said, if you keep following Flex, I'm going to block you.
Oh, and not just that. Those people will send Flex the screenshots of that conversation. So they're not.
Yes.
So in the interest of keeping this moving, I'm gonna cut this off right here.
That's a first.
Okay.
If you're watching this, you're a Suns fan. Stop being a fucking bitch. Move on. We're all Suns fans. We should just be enjoying the fucking team we're watching.
That's right.
And that is
1000%.
the cut and dry of the whole lot. There is nothing else that needs to be talked about.
Couldn't have said it better. Couldn't have said it
Boyd,
better.
Any more questions?
Good.
You've got nothing.
I want to hear
fantastic. Dan, tell us about your time in the pod world. Boyd calls you one of his all-time favorite potters.
Oh, man.
I actually refer to you as his pod boyfriend.
Yeah,
I am a Dan Duarte groupie. Same like Justin and Duarte for me are the fucking best.
Boyd is a Dan Duarte stan. So tell us about your time in potting.
That's too kind, man. Honestly, I've always wanted to podcast for a long time. This guy, he may not be that popular with Suns fans, but I really liked what he did early on. I'm a big Bill Simmons fan. Right? Mm-hmm. I'm a big, Adam Carolla fan.
I like what Bill Simmons has done in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that too, right? You look at all the podcasters, Joe Rogan, I know he's controversial, he said some things, but he, all these guys were the main people that started podcasts. And I'm like, shout out to the Fighter and the Kid, Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen, great fucking podcast. All those guys that kind of laid the groundwork for this space where you can just be shooting the shit and talking to somebody and having a good time. And these people made that their jobs, and not just their jobs, but they get rewarded handsomely for it. And I'm like, man. And I've had friends tell me like, dude, this is you're doing this. Or they watch ESPN and they're like, man, you got more personality than that guy. Like, what, why don't you?
Right.
Yes.
Has more personality than anyone on earth.
Exactly. So I always wanted to do that, but I could never find anybody to do it with. So I started a solo podcast by myself. I recorded 2 episodes. I think a total of 6 people listened. And I said, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. So Justin hits me up on Twitter, and I met those guys. The year that we drafted DeAndre, we all had a big meetup. Shout out to Dave King. He set up a meetup over in Summer League in Vegas. We all went down there. I went down there with the wife, and we had a great time. Watched DeAndre. He was really good in the couple games we saw him in. And met Justin there, met Dave King, Paul, a few other people.
Is this the Tim Tompkins Vegas?
No. That is not the Tim Tompkins Vegas. That is a great story, though.
I heard the whole fucking story. That is a great story. Oh man. Dave, man, Tim's cool as fuck. I'll say, and then we did that, and then Justin. Fast forward, we'll go back a little bit to when I was doing the solo pod. Justin DMs me on Twitter, and he said, "Hey, Paul Kent, he's done Fanning the Flames since they drafted Josh Jackson. They've been doing it for 6 years. I only recently got on with them this past season." He said, "Hey, do you want to pinch hit for Paul?" And I'm like, "I'd love to." I wish more people would invite me onto their pods because I love doing it, man. I genuinely love doing it. So I hopped on with them. I was nervous, but after like the first 30 seconds, it was like we should have been doing this all along. Got really good feedback. Everybody was like, "Man," he's like, "Love to hear more of that guy," which I never would have thought was going to happen. And it was cool, man. He had me on that one episode. I think he had me on a couple more times. And then we fast forward to the pandemic. It was even, I believe it was before the bubble because it was before the bubble. There was nothing going on.
Yeah, because we started when the bubble was about.
We were watching NBA 2K.
Yes, that's exactly what we were doing.
DA versus book, right?
Book versus DA. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then I mentioned something, and Flex was like, "Yeah, I want to start a podcast." I'm like, "Dude," I was like, "I'm your guy," because I would love to start something. And to be honest with you, and this is nothing against Flex, when he said that, I was like, people say stuff sometimes because they want to be nice, they want to be cordial. But that same night, or that same morning, I should say, we got off the long ass group chat, and he just tells me, "Hey man," he's like, "here's my number." He's like, "Hit me up. We'll discuss this." We got on the phone. I remember I was painting my house when we started doing it, and he was just like, "Hey man," he's like, "I got this guy." He had a guy, do the artwork for us, and we just went, man. We just went, and it was such a good time, man. And then it sucks because we went to the finals, and then we didn't continue doing it for unforeseen reasons and family stuff, and a whole mess of stuff. But looking forward to getting back on there, man. And then the Fanning the Flames guys, they just asked me, and they said, I think it was mostly because sometimes either Justin can't make it, or Paul, Sweepy, and they have to go on with just 2 of us. I'm just kidding. No, they really invited me on. Like, let's do this. We like the dynamic you bring. Dave King likes it sometimes because I talk a lot of shit, obviously. Yeah. And some of it's directed, and sometimes it's directed towards him, and he gets really upset about that. So that's kind of been a struggle.
Have you started getting royalties yet, mate? Have they clued you in on the?
No.
Nah.
No. I get no royalties. Dude? If they were gonna include me in royalties, it'd go down to 0 because of how much shit I talk. They would listen and be like, "No, we can't have this guy."
But you are talking about people who talk shit here, Dan. You're talking about people call you up and ask you on a podcast just to be nice, right? When Gav started this, he put the post out there and was like, "Who the fuck is Gav?" Now, Gav's the guy that started everything. But, as it got a bit further, it was like, well, the question wasn't, oh, he's just doing this to be nice. It was like, he's doing this because he's a fucking alcoholic.
That's a good point. That is a great point.
Not only an alcoholic, I like to talk Suns.
I mean, I'm right there with you, man.
I take it, brother.
You listen to our pods. I mean, me and Flex, sometimes when we recorded, I've been a little twisted, and I'll text Flex after. I'm like, bro, I gotta re-listen before I post this because I was faded, man, and but usually it's not that good.
Hey, yo, guys, this was an absolute blast, man. But check this out. If you really want to hear the real deal about Phoenix Suns basketball, Suns all-time great teams, and some more in-depth information about the Phoenix Suns and their championship playoff run, you got to check out the second part of this Aussie Suns podcast with my boys over in Australia and the Coast to Coast podcast crew. Let's get it. Tune into part 2.
It's going to be a good time.